to allow you just before you go on, because you've been trying, you've been laboring to explain just, you know, what exactly transpired and how you're not a stumbling block to this discourse. But, you know, it's very interesting that the same thing that ordinary customers have complained about will seem like the same thing that government agencies also seem to be going through, in the sense that they're being given what you say it is estimated billing as well. And the federal government is saying, give these people meters. I think we must note that the question I asked was about, you know, giving them prepaid meters. He says that the infrastructure in most of these ministries, departments, and agencies cannot take prepaid meters. So we want to assume that they have some meters. But the general conversation is usually, you know, when you complain, you are told to go and pay before you complain. How come that doesn't happen for the ministries, departments, and agencies? Didn't they know that, you know, they ought to pay some electricity bill before, you know, it got to where it got to? And what exactly have you had to say about these people who have been owing for years?
Well, to be fair, the agencies are owing, but they're also paying. I give an example, the military. The military, we've written to the military, and very responsibly, the then Chief of Defense Staff, they made payments, and they're making payments. Now, we are trying to have a meeting. You see, the meeting is special because some of the field officers have no control over finances. So what we want to do, and we'll make the discourse, we're going to arrange at a high-level protocol with the army heads, so that either you give them post-paid, that means you have estimated after a month they paid. There must be commercial arrangements. You see, a disco and their customer are in trust. So they must manage it. But let me put
so why did NERC interfere in this particular one? In this instance here, I mean, he gave us a letter showing the complaints they had with NIOMCO. I believe that's the abbreviation of the company. It's the Nigerian looking for iron ore mining company, which you had a meeting with. I guess NIOMCO complained to you. But why didn't you let them? Because it would seem that they were already arriving at a resolution between the DISCO and this particular company. But it would seem that you intervened, and it would seem constituted a stumbling block of some sort to the final resolution of the problem they had with the company.
Okay, well, I'll ask you to look at that letter. The letter focused on one thing: disconnection. That is all over the world. The fundamental principle of electricity regulation is access. So we have process for disconnection. And like I told you, if a customer has engaged with you and he said they have made payments, and you people are now working out a repayment plan, disconnection is a terminal sentence. And thinking about the economic impact of that. So what we say is that continue that discussion, but do not disconnect at this stage, because they are joint issue. In some cases, they are contesting the proprietiness of the bill. In some cases, for example, even other customers, people say, look, I got 10,000 naira bill last month. There was no power, the joint issue. So our job as a conflict management agency as well is that we try to engage them. I would really look at that. NERC has been upfront to support them in collecting their debts. And the rule is clear. If you made a mistake, if I look at that, I'll go back and look at it. If you made a mistake, I'll admit. But our rule has been very clear. Every disco has a right to disconnect anybody who is owing after due process. Due process meaning a notice to pay. There's no disputation of that notice. Then they can disconnect you. We will not impede the disco's responsibility to collect their money. We are already reaching the government again. We are raising the issue of MDA debts. We are looking at ways we can minimize the conflict between military and discos, because it's important. By the way, why should you allow discos? Why should you say discos should go and invest and you won't allow them to collect their bills? That is wrong. But the point I'm making is this, that in this handle balancing, we have to balance on both ends. We have to balance the customers who complain to us. The complaint is based on a perception of wrong. In the same way, you know, we are a quasi-judicial body like the court. If you go to a court and say, I'm about to throw out my house, yes, I'm owing, but that's an issue. Please, court, restrain them. It's like an intervention. Do not throw the guy out. Let's hear the case.
Okay, so Mr. Amadi, are you saying then, because you acknowledge that MDAs must pay their monies, you also say that the federal government or the presidency has given a directive that these MDAs be metered. Are you saying that until they're metered, these people will not be able to collect their monies?
No. metering does not mean that if you're not metered, you're not paid. Metering is a way of solving the problem of estimation and of not paying debts. But in the meantime, they ought to pay their debts. Let me repeat it. Every MDA ought to pay, and they are paying, but the debt is still huge. And the instrument that we want to use is what the accountant general is doing. Collect the debts and pay it off, and then put everybody on notice to now pay as consumed. But I think, back to the issue of metering, there are meters for bulk buyers. There are meters for MD users. There are meters for all kinds of customers.
The reason I ask this is it would seem that the discos now are using that as an excuse for not metering the ordinary people. They claim that how can we finance metering everybody else when we are owed so huge an amount by the government agencies?
Then the answer is simple. Collect those debts, cut them off. I've told you before. I've told you that the Ministry of Power has been cut off. NERC did not write a letter because they're cut off properly. NERC has been cut off. We didn't call them to put it on. If you cut off our premises, which were a tenant, and I will pay our bills all the time, but the tenant manager has not paid the bill, we'll hold him responsible. Abuja Disco cut us off. We didn't complain. They should cut off those who are owing them. Government agencies, everybody. This is a new market, and it's based on creating financial viability. That's number one. What we are saying is that also you have to do the work of giving them bills, give them credible bills. That's the important thing. You know, estimated billing and atrocious billing creates the incentive to bypass, to steal power. I mean, look at, I watched the documentary. Think about that, those poor communities being slammed with 13,000, 18,000 bills, and they know they didn't have enough power. What does that do to you? The guy said it clear. He said, you know what? I say, I'm not going to pay. So what we're working together with the discos is to create a billing methodology that is credible and that gives confidence, transparent, so that everybody knows that the bills they receive are bills they ought to receive. That helps the incentive to pay. All over the world, social science research proves it clear. If people have a sense that they're being gamed, their incentive, their tendency to try to game the system is high. Our job as a regulator is to ensure that first, number one, the discos are put in a position to render their service. Two, that the consumers are protected. And thirdly, that the system runs orderly. So, back to meter. Metering will not happen overnight. Some of these discos will take 2 years. But what we are saying, let there be serious deployment of meter. Cap me, you made a good point. Customers want to pay, but in some places, including especially Ikeja too, I made that point yesterday with their leaders, they abandoned cap me. They said they want to bring a better system, a much more scientific, accurate system of billing. But the point is, the cap me was like a windfall. Customer says we'll refinance you. All over the world, you finance metering and recover through tariff. But here, we gave you an option. Let the customers finance you. Let you repay the customers. At the beginning, many of them didn't embrace CapMe. But CapMe could actually help them deal with the financing problem. There's a real financing problem in this sector, and I agree with the discourse. I will have to work it out.